Okay, I'm replacing the coils and the spark plugs in a 2002 Nissan Altima 3.5L engine. Finally, I took this thing completely off. I had been struggling with that and left it there, and finally I just figured out how to get it all the way off. I am not a mechanic. I know very little about engines, so maybe this will help the layperson like me. Here are your coils, 1, 2, 3 on the back side of the engine. And you have to take this little bolt here off, pull the coil out, unplug all of these little gray electronic connectors, and you just push the tab in right there and pull it out. You push this in, push that in, and then pull it out as you're pushing in the tab. So you take the screw out first, the bolt out right there, pull the electronic adapter off, or you can actually pull the coil up out of the slot and then pull the adapter off. I did that on several of them. So that's 1, 2, 3 on the back side of the engine. This was a nightmare to take off for me because I knew nothing, so hopefully this will help you. I'm going to show you what was the worst part, were these two brackets in the back here. That bracket there and this bracket here, which holds 2 bolts in the back. The only way I was able to finally get to those 2 bolts in the back was to pull this air duct all the way up like this and get my arm back here like this. You pretty much can't do it without moving this air breather out of the way. You may want to take it off all the way here. I just didn't. I just pulled it up hoping I didn't break anything, and I didn't. So that allowed me to get to these 2 bolts here, and it was a 10 millimeter, I believe. Here are my bolts. No, that looks, maybe that was a 12 millimeter. It's either a 10 or a 12. Anyhow, that takes care of getting these 2 out, and I had to reach back here on the other side and pull this one out. You can see I had to unplug this plug, unplug that plug. I had to unplug that plug and this plug. What else did I have to take off? I had to take off these 2 hoses here. You can see these 2 hoses here. I had to undo this bracket. I had to undo this, which sat up there somewhere on that. I had to pull these off, these little connectors off from the side of the top of the manifold here, over here. That's where the air duct came off. But this was holding this thing on for a while and keeping me from pulling it off. I just took a pair of pliers and finally yanked it out of the hole. I say yanked, I did it gingerly. Also had to unplug this plug and pull this out of the hole that it was holding. One final thing that I didn't realize was holding me from pulling it completely off was this hose, which was on the bottom. And I'll show you on the top of the manifold here. And then I think that's it mainly for getting this thing to come completely off, which is kind of necessary, I'll be honest. It'll make things so much easier to get your 3 coils and spark plugs out. And what I decided to do was just change coils and spark plugs at the same time while this thing is apart, instead of changing a coil and then your spark plugs need changing and you have to come back and do it again later. Okay, so you can see from here what all I had to take off as well. So let me show you this, and maybe this will help someone out there. You can see I had to take a bolt off here, had to take a bolt off here, 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 and here. Here's what I had to remove on the side. This plug, this hose, So this plug, this hose I took off but didn't need to, so don't take this one off. I unplugged this. Here's where the air duct goes. Here is the little bracket that the wiring harness sticks into. You have to take a pair of pliers and rip that out because it will hold you. On the bottom here is where you'll see two hoses that you can't see from the top. You have to pretty much take these off last so you can move this thing up to pull this one off, and then to pull this one off. Had to pull a hose here, pull a hose here, had to pull a hose here, and here a bracket, a green plug slides down onto this thing. Instead of taking the bracket off with this bolt here, I decided to get a screwdriver and I slid this green plug off here, and I think that I took a bolt out here to get it loose, I believe. And here's a hose that had to come off too. So you can see everything, and here's the back side showing where those two bolts that are so difficult to get are. So hopefully that helps someone. So you can see everything that had to be taken loose to get this contraption off. And that really helps because I've replaced these. I replaced the spark plugs in these and left the old coils there. I put new coils in here and not here yet, because these are so easy to get. You can change them anytime. You want to go ahead and put new here and here and here. Just save yourself a world of trouble. Listen, I hope this helps somebody, because this was awful to do for me, but hopefully it'll be much better for you. God bless you. Ask any questions in the comments section and I'll try to help all I can.